I played in Scotland the whole time. I played with Kilmarnock Football Club for, well, the best part of 19 years. I was captain of the club, and we had a really successful time. We had a treble under our belt for 3 seasons in a row, so we did really well. And then I played for the national team for 3 years, and then hung up my boots to go to the States really to coach. That was it. I was actually coaching while I was still playing, so it was kind of a natural progression for me. I've just always been involved in football. And I worked for the Scottish FA for 5 years as a development officer, and during that time was really looking for the next step for me. And for females wanting to work full time in coaching football, there's not many opportunities in Scotland, and there certainly wasn't at that time. There's more now, but at that time it was very limited. So I decided that maybe the States would be where I'd want to look, and was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. Jeff Cook, who's the head coach at Dartmouth, was over here doing some of his coach education, and we got chatting a little bit, and I went over to do one of their camps in the summer. And literally 6 months after that, an opening came up at Dartmouth, and I was asked if I'd be interested. So delighted. So it just all, I was really in the right place at the right time. That's how things kind of planned out a little bit. I was at Dartmouth for 8 years, so it was 8 years, and recruiting's a big part of what you do over there. And you know, you do speak to a lot of recruits over the year. There was anywhere between 700 and 800 that we speak to over the period of a year, trying to recruit the best 5 or 6 for Dartmouth. And I think the standard answer was always for me that first and foremost, in a soccer sense, that there had to be that level of ability. You know, technically they had to be solid enough and of a Division 1 calibre. Athletically, they had to be able to cope with the demands of Division 1 soccer. But then the other part, and it's a very important part, was the type of person that they were. Were they hard-working? Were they reliable? Were they going to be committed to the programme? Were they going to be someone that brought something to the team as well as just being a talented player? So that were the aspects relating to the soccer side of things. But obviously, academically, at Dartmouth was a very highly academic institution, so the academic side of things was also important. But I think the same attributes were important there. You know, were they hard-working? Were they dedicated to their study? Were they serious about being the best that they could be, both on the field and in the classroom? So I think it was a all-rounded thing that we looked for in recruitment. I mean, I think there's a reason that when you go to study in the States, you're classed as a student athlete, and there's a reason for that. And I think there's a reason why student comes before athlete, because first and foremost you're there to study. You know, the part that you can be a full-time soccer player is a huge bonus. But I think the two marry very well, and I think the fact that you know, soccer complements the academic side of things, and academics brings discipline and a little bit of focus to the athletic side of things. So I think both are equally important, absolutely, as they are in life. I think you learn a lot from being an athlete, from being in challenging situations, from dealing with adversity. I think it mirrors itself in education, but also in your future career. Oh, what would put me off? I think the biggest thing for me would be attitude. You know, and it's the same for every business or every line of work. You want to surround yourself with good people, and people who are positive and want to work hard and want to contribute and be part of something. So I think attitude it just has to be there. If they don't have a good attitude and they're not prepared to work hard, and they're not someone that you want to be around, then quite frankly you just don't want to be around them, so it's never going to work. My assistant coach actually monitors, we follow them all on Twitter, Facebook as well, so we have to make sure that, I think social media is very, very powerful, and it can be a fantastic way to promote your club and your players, but also you have to be really clever and smart about what goes on there, because once it's there, it's difficult to remove. Yeah. it's very obvious that the facilities that they have in the States are second to none, and they're far beyond what we have here in Scotland. However, I think as a nation we're improving all the time, the facilities are getting better, the resources that we have available to players to develop are much better than they were 5-10 years ago, but I mean it still is, it's night and day. You know, you go on a college campus, and at Dartmouth in the 5 years that I was there, well the 8 years I was there, but the first 5 they spent close to 100 million on athletics facilities, so that just doesn't happen here, sadly. But it's a different culture, it's a different country, it's a far bigger country, and they invest heavily in athletics, and college athletics is a big part of their culture, so it's tough to compare. But make sure you do your homework, make sure you research properly. I think there's a lot of players have left this country looking to go for a scholarship, and they've basically accepted the first thing that comes along. I think it's important to identify what they really want and the type of person they are, because you can be there and the team environment might be fantastic, the coach might be fantastic, but you need to make sure the academics in the school are right for you, the location, the temperature, the financial side of things. So I think I would be very careful in researching and finding out as much as you can about what you want first, and certainly getting people around you that can provide the right information. I mean, obviously that's what we do here. Firstpoint's fantastic, so it's a great resource for all. I think it differs a lot. I think in the US it's very direct, and there's a reason for that, and that's because the substitution rule is different. You can roll on and off your substitutions as much as you like. There's a set number you can make in the second half of the game, but it's just very different in this country. We have 5 substitutions, 3 when it comes to FIFA. So that changes the pace of the game, and it means that the game never really slows down in the States. So it's very, very direct, and was a challenge for me when I first went there to try and get used to it, because you have to develop your team a little bit differently. So I would say the style is very different. In our country, it's much more possession. There's a lot of technical players over there. It's very fast. It's very athletic. It's very direct. There's certainly a few that we have just now that are considering that option. Obviously, a couple here with Firstpoint. I think for everyone, the game is getting much more global. You know, there's players travelling to Europe to play in Germany and Sweden. Why not go to the States? And I think it's something that young players, aspiring young players who want to play the game at the highest level and want to experience a different culture, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for them. We certainly don't want to lose our best players, but I think you have to think about the individual player, and if it's good for their development and it's great for them as a person, then absolutely, it's a tremendous opportunity. Good question. I was there for a while, and I absolutely loved my time in college soccer, but the opportunity was there for me to come over and work with the national team here. And you know, it's not every day you get a call and asked to come and work with your national squad, so it was very appealing for me. So that was kind of the main reason initially that I came back. But with that, it changes the nature of your job, you know, from working with athletes every single day, being on the field or being in the strength room, to then working with a national team where you see them for 2 or 3 days a month. It changes quite drastically. So for me, I really wanted to get back on the field, and that's why I took the position with Rangers. So we train 4 nights a week as a team. The players basically have a strength conditioning program that we do together on a Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, soccer training that we do. Friday they have a strength program they do on their own, and then we play on a Sunday. So I think you'll find that it mirrors most of the time that professional men's players play in this country. So it's a big commitment for these players. Yeah, well, we're fortunate we're Rangers. I mean, we have Murray Park's one of the best facilities in the country, so we're very lucky that way. We also utilise Tory Glen Football Centre, so I think with regards to facilities, we're certainly very fortunate that the position that we're in, both from our youth squad right through to our seniors. I have to say it's not quite what it was like in the States. No, we're working on that, and that's something that the women's game in general really have to focus a lot on, and the Scottish FA are trying to do that as well, but we really need to profile the women's game a lot more. So this year we've had anything between 50 a game to almost 200, so games like when we play Celtic, when we play Hibernian, some of the top teams in the country, we have good crowds. But I think it's something that we need to continue to work on and educate people about what women's football is like. It's coming along. I think we have much better players now than we did 5 years ago. We have much more athletic players than we did 5 years ago. The game in England is just booming right now because they obviously have a professional league, and they're going to double that next year, going from 8 teams to 16, and it's televised. So I think that's the benchmark right now for the UK. In Scotland, you know, we're trying to do things, but it's a very small number of players that we have at the moment. But I think there's no doubt about it that the quality of players is improving and the number of players is improving, albeit I think that's something that we have to continue to do. But we're getting there, you know, the national squad are very highly ranked, and I think that's fantastic, and we want to keep doing that. In a one-off game, yes, we could probably hold our own, but over a period of time or over a consistent league basis, I think we're a little bit behind right now. And I don't necessarily think it's in the ability of the players that we have. I think it's more in the number. You know, there's a lot more English players, which it just makes sense that they have more to choose from. So the elite level is that little bit higher. So yeah, I think we've got a little bit to go until we're there.